Got it.
Yes, sir. It's still telling me that I'm GTD user logged in, but it's actually my Angler account. Let me switch accounts over here.
Let me check. Ooh, it looks like we're live on both. No, maybe.
No, we're just live on Chesapeake Angler. See that on the little bottom in the corner here? The little the logo for Chesapeake Angler.
GTD. Hold on.
Yeah, because we're Chesapeake Angler. It's being done. Maryland Fishing Line is good to go. Got 3 folks watching. Score. That's me, you, and maybe Jess.
No.
Hit the button to record. We're recording. You ready to go, Joey?
I was ready.
Hey, everybody. I'm Brian.
I'm Joey.
Welcome to the Maryland Fishing Line, episode 20. Today is Wednesday, October 7th, 2020. We're a day late, but we're not $1 short, Joey. Yeah.
Are we though?
I probably am $1 short. I'm probably more than $1 short. I'm probably hundreds of dollars short. That's okay. This is the podcast where we talk about fishing throughout the great state of Maryland. The Maryland Fishing Line is a production of the Angler Magazine Chesapeake Edition. And before we get to this week's fishing report and talk, we need to thank our sponsors. Waterfront Marine in Edgewater, Maryland, dealing in Robalo fishing boats, chaparral pleasure boats, and Bennington pontoon boats. Waterfront Marine has their open house October demo days coming up October 10th and 11th. That's this weekend. You can find out more information about that on their website at waterfrontmarine.com. Annapolis Canoe and Kayak in Eastport, Maryland. It's where I got my old town topwater. JMJ Firearms in Mechanicsville, Maryland. Did you see Joseph suffered a little weirdness there. Somebody broke down the back wall of the store and stole a bunch of stuff. Did you hear about that?
Nope.
Yeah, quite the mess.
That's one way to do it, though.
Yeah, literally, I think knocked the wall down at the back of the building and broke in. So if you're in need of firearms ammunition,
don't go there.
No, actually do go. He's a great shop. Very, very good. In fact, I think a little pop-up stop came up next to him after he opened or just about the same time, and they have now shut down because of their shady operations. But JMJ is open and ready to help you and going strong. Even with a hole in the back of the store, they can get you taken care of. Modern Air HVAC in Mechanicsville. Robin Cavallaro Real Estate at Remax 1. You can find her at robincavallaro.com. Stoney's Kingfishers in Solomons, Maryland. Great food, great bar. Scotts Cove Marina in Deal Island. Just a short boat ride over from Solomons if you need outboard service.
Where?
Keep in mind, Scotts Cove Marina in Deal Island. It's only about 4 miles.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
You're looking for a little...
I was thinking Deal, Maryland.
Yeah, no, Deal Island. Huntingtown Automotive in Huntingtown. Go see Troy. Eat Chesapeake in Dunkirk, Rosehaven, and Bowie, otherwise known as the Chesapeake Grill. Great food, great prices. Can't say enough good stuff about those folks. You're going to find links to everybody in the show notes or in the show descriptions. Make sure to let them know you heard about them here. How you doing this week, Joey?
I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of the Letterkenny.
How are you now?
Yeah, that thing.
Good, and you?
I'm doing pretty good. Our second attempt. At this, I'm ready to go.
I love that show. I couldn't get into season 8 when it just released not too long ago with that whole crack an egg thing that they were doing. Kind of maybe hit a little too close to home with what we do here. So
they were way ahead of me on that show.
They did a whole community kind of community TV show called Crack an Egg where they helped everybody, and it got a little old there at the beginning. But then once they got through that, it worked out okay. I could drink 8 beers.
Oh, that's what you're talking about last night.
Yeah, they would sit on there and go, I could drink 8 beers. I could drink. If you're going to drink 1 beer, why not drink 8 beers? What are you drinking tonight, Joey?
I have just a classic Sam Adams Oktoberfest.
Oktoberfest. Who we got here tonight? Sean is here. Firebert. Unexpected letter, Kenny. Yes, sir. Gym Rats. Yeah, Sean's was Gym Rats. That was the one that has just recently shut down. I am drinking the bane of Joey's existence. Joey hates it.
Paul's here too.
Let's give everybody a clink. A little Dave Pryor clink.
Wrong podcast.
I've had a couple of these. It's okay. They all run together after a while. Well, okay. We've covered all of that, Joey. I'm sorry.
Yep.
I'm just so everybody knows, you're going to find us. We're not in the same room together tonight, Joey, which is a little, I know it's frustrating for you. It's frustrating for me, but I think we're doing the right thing. You had a little COVID scare there at the shop, which looks like it's all gonna be fine. It doesn't look like there's going to be any infections, no problems. You guys
potential to someone exposure scare. That's what it was.
Like third hand kind of. I want to give you guys kudos at the shop. You handled that exactly the way you should have. You notified everybody. You shut things down. You cleaned. You made sure everybody got tested and did negative tests. And so, good job. Good job. Just one.
Yep.
Good night, Jess. Tell her I said good night.
Brian says good night.
We're going to get her on a podcast. Maybe she would like to come on the fishing podcast.
The fishing podcast.
I think that would be a lot of fun. I do. I think that would be a lot of fun. So we had that little bit of a scare. We tried to do some Skype stuff last night.
Did not go well.
Did not go well. We spent a lot of time on a fruitless effort. We drank a lot of beer in different locations.
I had a lot of vodka last night.
Yeah, by the time it was done, I was literally just throwing my headphones down. I was like walking away. I'm like, I'm done. So, but we did just make the shift to Zoom, and Zoom's a little bit easier to get the live stream connection in place. Hopefully that all continues to work out well so you can see us and we can chat. And Joey's going to clean his screen. That's nice. Good job, buddy.
Yeah, I was like, it might be a little dirty.
And everybody, since you get a front angle of Brian, you get to see Brian without his teeth, which, you know what? I didn't talk about this on the last podcast, Joey, but I got a little bit of, I think I'm getting the shaft from my dentist.
Well, it's you got your teeth removed in 2020.
No, it's the perfect time to get your teeth worked on because everybody's wearing a mask. So that was my thought.
Yeah, but you were doomed when you signed up for it.
I know. He took the bridge out, but then I went back. He's supposed to do implants, and he's looking at it. And I went back for the appointment. And he's like, "Oh, your gum, your jawbone is a little too thin. We're gonna have to do grafts and all this other kind of stuff, and all this back and forth and round robin." And then he leaves. The dentist leaves, and then the girl comes in and goes, "I have to tell you too, your treatment plan has changed, and it's an extra $4,000 to $5,000." And I'm like, what? So maybe this is the new Brian. I don't know.
I feel bad when I'm working in my shop and I tell someone it might be an extra $5 or $10.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like
$5,000.
I legit got the shaft on that one because it's like nothing changed there. I should have been able to see that before. So maybe a GoFundMe is in order, or maybe there's somebody out there that has like started to want to be a dentist and then they didn't quite like it, but yet they still have all the tools. I would take somebody up on that offer if they wanted to help Brian out, to practice, or I don't know. I just would like some teeth.
I did stay at a Holiday Inn last night.
You could do it. I'll get you. They're little tiny tools. So it's not.
I work with my hands all day.
They can't.
And I use dental picks.
Yeah, it can't be that expensive. Those little tools, and it's basically just like you're just screwing something in. If we just get the right tooth and screw it in and just right up in there, it'd be fine.
I work on bikes that are harder than that.
Yeah, that's a piece of cake. So who over here is in the stay behind the mic? Thank you, Paul. Yeah, that's exactly it. If I just keep the mic position right where it is right now, nobody can see. But if I do that, then it becomes a problem.
Excuse me.
Okay. Hey, let's actually talk about what people are here to listen to, Joey. Let's talk about what's going on around the state. Cooler, dare I say colder weather has arrived. Yeah. that means the fish are looking to feed. And I encountered that today. They are legit looking to it. It doesn't matter if the wind is up. It didn't matter where the tide was moving. If he found the fish, and they were hungry. Water temperatures across the bay, all the creeks, all the tribs, everything's dropping. So those fish are turning on. Joey, what's going on?
Oh, global warming.
Yeah, but does that have anything to do with water bay temperature?
Or are you talking about the striped bass?
Right.
Actually, so I was out, and I'll go into striped bass next. Water was 5 degrees cooler this Sunday in a part of the creek than it was last Sunday.
Mm-hmm. I encountered the same thing, especially in the mornings.
Yeah.
I've been doing 2-a-day fishing, and I'll go out in the
You
morning.
have.
Yeah, I'll go out in the morning, and it's like it's when you first get on the water, it's kind of hard to judge because everything's been out of the water. Then you drop it in, and you let it settle, but it'll be in the high 60s, and then as the day progresses, and as you move to areas where the sun is on the water, it'll pop up into the low to mid 70s.
Yeah. What is doing well with the temperature changes and everything is the striped bass. The little fellas are everywhere. So the sublegal fish under 19s. Sounds like you're catching a lot of them.
I'm catching so many of those little like 16, 17 fish. It's just you want to squish them, and they're fat too.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out if they're resident fish or they've got to be resident fish in my creek. And I'm trying to figure out, where these fish are coming from.
Well, I think it's 20, maybe it's under 30 inches. They're residential.
Is that the number? Is that how it works?
So I think it's 25 or generally within that range. I have to look it up before somebody yells at me. After about either the 25 or 30 inches, then they start being migratory.
Okay, so they'll actually change their habits then. So they'll stay resident until they get the shoulders. Yep. And then once they get shoulders, they'll decide to move on and spread their wings, or as it may be. Okay.
Middle of the bay, stripers, they're still schooling alongside bluefish, Spanish mackerel, and chasing all the surface bait. But now's the time of year to find them in the shallow water, throwing topwater lures, plugs. If you want to try buzz baits, we were talking about last week. Anything really that looks appetizing or makes some noise. It is a lot of fun. And for those who do like to troll, either your creek or the shipping channel, I just doing the creek because of you, Brian. Yeah. Inline weights, bucktails, all that good stuff gets the job done.
We'll talk a little bit about my creek tactics.
Yeah.
When I do my catch up, because that's pretty much been my religion for the last 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. Bluefish are still around, schooling up, and they're out there breaking the surface, chasing those baits. You might want to try to get a bait below some of that mayhem if you're looking for the larger fish. You also may find some of your larger stripers in that mix as well.
Yeah. Cobia is basically on its way out, probably as far north as the target ship, but most of them hang out around the mouth of the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel. It's generally where people are ended up.
I've heard of one fish in the last week from reliable sources that was caught in 18 feet of water near the target ship, maybe even a little bit south of the target ship. That is the only cobia I've heard of this last week. Cobia seems to have fallen off of the radar, so they have gone south. Puppy drum, for me, they've kind of moved on, but I'm still hearing a lot of reports of people catching them. Are you still catching them in the creek?
Other than my dad's last Sunday, I have not.
Okay.
I've also changed my fishing tactics a little bit, so maybe that's why.
Could be. I don't know whether they're still here. I actually want to do a little deep dive and look for this. I've got an idea for the November issue. I want to do a little deep dive into the life cycle of the puppy drum here in the Bay and what's going to happen with them. I think that would be a very, very interesting story to tell, that now they seem to be here on the Western Shore and in Maryland, where they've always been a little further south, and on the Eastern Shore. I think it would be you've got some inside information on that, Joey, that's kind of tickled my curiosity. So I think that's something I want to do a little deep dive for November when fishing reports become fewer and further between. So
Yeah.
look for that.
Sorry, I was thinking about the puppy drum.
That's okay.
But I do. So the sorry, I'm just all over. Speckled trout. Speckled trout are in the shallow shoreline areas, and I think they're more abundant than a lot of the other fish right now. Not a striper, but starting to see them all over. White or pink, not pink or white, as a combination. Has been a good color of soft bodies, jig heads, etc. in that category for them. They're looking at still around predominant points, grass beds. I don't see as many grass beds right now as the temperatures cool off.
Okay.
But that's really generally where you're going to find them in some rocky edges. And as you're fishing for those, like Brian said, you might find some weak fish as well.
Yeah, I picked up a speck just a few days ago, way up here in the back of the creek, trolling for rockfish. It was weird. I have this little pinch point in the creek where I've got a big flat where is north of us, and then the pier, and then there's a pinch point in the creek, and then it widens back out. And in that little cut where that water flows rapidly through there when the tides are changing, holds a lot of fish. And so I spend a lot of time kind of in that little area. And I picked up a speck in there. It kind of threw me, it kind of surprised me. And I've had a lot over the last week of short bites and pulls that don't hook up. And I have a feeling after I actually hooked up with that one that it could be specks in there kind of going after my rockfish baits.
Yeah.
That are just pulling it down. Spanish mackerel, definitely. I haven't heard of many reports of Spanish mac still being caught. I think they are on their way out. So hopefully you got on them while they were here. You may actually still find a few random fish alongside some of the blues and small stripers in those breaking schools, but you're probably missed the boat if you're a Spanish mackerel fan.
Wet perch and spot, get them while they're still in the shallows. I guess you could use white or pink, but casting perch, pounder, spinner baits, little curly tail grubs, anything in that sort, 3 inches or under really is pulling in the perch, especially all the fat perch we've been catching all year. For the live bait guys, grass shrimp or pieces of bloodworm. For a simple bottom rig, will make a good setup. But as these temperatures, well, it's hard to say because our temperatures are and aren't dropping. But as they do go down, the perch will start leaving that shallower water and going into some deeper stuff over the hard bottoms.
Mine up here in the creek have definitely turned off. Although I was paddling by a guy in a canoe a couple days ago in the creek, and he said he was all over the perch. And I think it could be that I've just, like you said earlier, where you've stopped fishing for the puppies. I feel like I've kind of given up on the perch, and I'm not really looking for them anymore. And I'm having so much fun with the rockfish that I'm just not targeting them, so I'm not catching them. So it feels like they're gone. But I know that the perch, they're still up in the shallow water taking those little spinner baits and beetle spins. But those that have moved out to the deeper water, you're going to want to start bottom rigs for them.
Yeah.
So, I don't know what's going on in the world of fall trout stocking, but that's something that's happening in this month.
Yep.
And all reports say that it should be a great year. It's been a great year for fishing, even though it's 2020. I mean, I think we've had a fantastic year. Just in my opinion, I think.
We've had one of the better years in a long time.
Yeah. The rockfish are doing incredibly well. We had the puppy drum runs, and I just checked the live stream feed, and Sean said that he has caught some puppies here of late. So it could actually be, just changing up. And the places that we were catching them were not there, and they've moved, and you've got to follow those fish. But instead of following those fish, I've kind of turned my attention to the stripers. So that's for me.
Yeah.
What's going on with the lodgies?
What are they doing now? Just like the striper, they're going to start feeling the approaching cooler weather, and they're going to feed to get fat. So they're going to be eating what they can when they can. Top water for them is still fun, but with grass beds beginning to die, bait fish and other forage will begin to look for alternative color or cover. So with that and everything on the move, the game pit or the bass will follow. They're looking more like transition points between deeper water and with cover, in using spinner baits, jerk baits, crank baits, and in that situation is going to work well. Um, as Brian likes to put it, Brian likes to fish the wood. So anywhere there's wood, really, you need hit that with whatever you got.
Yeah, I feel bad that I've kind of abandoned my largie friends. I kind of
Well, it's
got
been a couple of weeks.
I've gone whole hog with the rockfish, and I'm just like game on with them, and I've abandoned my little largies. So
Yeah, but isn't it nice not driving an hour every day to fish for largemouth?
yes, walking or taking the Kubota down to the bottom of the hill to the pier and jumping in the boat and going out and catching fish for an hour and a half, and then yeah, it's super nice. In fact, I'm sitting here. I was out on the boat the other day. I was like questioning my sanity in some ways with regards to what I did all summer with all of that back and forth and driving to get over to Charles County to search for those fish. I don't know. I was the only angler that signed up for the October KBF challenge for Maryland, and so they canceled it, and that got kind of squashed. So in a sense, that kind of like it's almost like it slammed the door on me, so to speak. So we should go over to the ponds and do a little pond fishing before it gets too cold. That would be great for the bonafide.
I don't have a kayak.
No, you have the bonafide.
That's my dad's. He's got to give me permission.
Well, he'll give you permission. Hey, Paul, give Joey permission in the live stream feed to take your bonafide.
I'm actually going to take it out tomorrow night, but it's going to be pretty windy.
Snakehead, the topwater bite is over, pretty much done. You may pick up a random fish topwater, but your better bet is going to go subsurface with some white paddle tails and maybe some MEP spinners, those inline spinners, the rooster tails. Those are going to be your better bets right now. Or if you want to go to live bait, live minnows under some bobbers.
Yep. I'm just going to briefly go over catfish. Catfish are everywhere. Catfish are also good to eat. Don't eat the super big ones. I think like everything, slightly cooler temperatures, everything's starting to feed heavy. Blue catfish will be in the deeper channel areas. And then the smaller blue catfish will be on the edges. The channel catfish will be found along deeper areas of the tidal rivers. Flathead catfish will be found in the upper Potomac, Conowingo Dam, Pool, and lower Susquehanna. Or what's her name? Susquehanna. Fresh cut bait will work well. Clam snouts, stirable bait, night crawlers, chicken, whatever. Catfish will eat anything.
Is that how she said that in that video?
Susquehanna or something? Yeah. Christine Fisher.
Susquehanna or something. It was very weird. It was very disturbing. It was like chalk, like fingernails on a chalkboard every time she said it. It was like, oh, stop it. Just stop saying the name. Just say water or something. Yeah. And by the way, your dad in the live stream just gave you permission to use bonafide. So
I'm taking it out tomorrow night. I might get blown off the water though.
So crabbing, this is such a weird time of the year for crabs because it is legit. Some of the best crabs come out of the water this time of year, and then all of a sudden the door slams shut. So get out there.
Does it come in?
I have seen on some of the social places some massive crab catches from the northern part of the bay, like above the Bay Bridge. And these guys are catching jimmies up there that are flipping huge. So if you want crabs, now is the time to go get them. And it's also an okay time for females. And a lot of folks I know will get a bushel or two of females, get low end prices, steam them, pick the meat, freeze the meat. So you have some crab soup stuff for the winter. That is something that people do a lot right now. I'm still doing really well at the pier. In fact, I think I had probably the largest number of crabs. I had pretty much close to the cooker baskets full. But I'm so glad, Joey, that you did not come.
Oh, see, I just well, part of that was I was staying pretty low key this weekend.
Yeah,
so I wasn't freaking everyone out.
I appreciate that. And I'm going to get you some crabs before all is said and done. So we
maybe this weekend.
Yeah, maybe this weekend I'm going to, and I will, if you're not able to come eat them, I will bring you some, and I'll do a curbside drop off if you're test positive tomorrow. So
test positive. I already took my test.
You're not going to test positive.
I will pick them up if you're polite enough to make them. How's that?
Oh, I make them every weekend. So definitely get out there and get you some crabs.
And oysters.
Yeah, you know what? I'm excited about that.
Man, I want to. My goal right now is I want to catch some decent sized specks that I can keep, throw them on a grill, have some oysters, do kind of like a whole shindig with all that.
We'll talk about it a little bit later. I'm going to tell you what I did with the rockfish this week. But before we get to that, I have a YouTube channel shout out to deliver to maybe the newest and maybe the youngest angler to storm YouTube at only 6 years old. 6 years old. Kevin is the driving force behind the YouTube channel named Any Fin is Possible. I think that's really cute. Any Fin Possible. Great name for a YouTube channel coming from a 6-year-old. He says, and this is the byline and the about, he says, just a kid who is hooked on fishing and wants to catch them all. And I know his dad through Facebook. His dad is a fat bike racer, and through the West Virginia race, I kind of got to know Robert, and we've talked a lot on Facebook. And he was telling me how much his kid is hooked on fishing and how he wanted to do the video stuff. So we went back and forth about how you could do that, and said, dude, you just got to dive in. So Robert's helping him. But Kevin is legit the driving force behind that channel. And his goal this past summer was to catch a shark. So along with his dad, they did their research, they did their homework, they did all the stuff online, and they drove down to Ocean City, New Jersey, and he caught 7 sand sharks at 6 years old. So I'm going to put a link to the channel in the show notes. His videos are really cute. They're really short. And dude legit catches fish. So, trout, and he catches trout and he catches sand sharks. So kudos to Kevin. We're going to be watching for you to do big and bold things. I know his dad is looking for some new camera setups for him so he can start doing some stuff at the age of 6 by himself, which is super, super cool. These kids are so going to outpace us going into the future. Ain't that right? I mean, I just, crazy stuff.
Did you know, that's not fishing related, the biggest producer on YouTube last year or so was like a 5-year-old?
No, toy reviews or something.
The toy review guy made like $22 million.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, Kevin, just remember us when,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's the next Jimmy Houston.
We got a lot of people that have jumped into the live stream here. Charles is here. Charles is down in Gunnersville, and I am a little bit ugged out. Charles had a great day pre-fishing. I saw his posts on Facebook, and he was on the fish and on the pattern, and then tournament starts and they go away. But he did land a legit football fish. I saw that picture, Charles. That was a very, very nice fish that you caught. And he said, sorry, Joey, he didn't see Greg.
Yeah, I saw on Greg's recent video, he didn't say anything about it either.
Yeah. Sean wants to know, what's a decent size speck?
Anything I can keep, I think is 14 inches. I think I had some that were like 17, 16.
But over on the Eastern Shore in Tangier, they're catching.
Oh, you can catch it all day.
But they're catching a lot bigger than that too.
Oh yeah, but I mean, I had like 3 or 4. I don't know, like 3 or 4 weeks ago, just right off, like just off my pier.
Yeah,
I should have kept, but you never know.
I haven't seen anything that was even approaching keeper size in the spec category. I'm not sure I keep them anyway because I'm not sure. I mean, I've had them before, and I don't remember them really being something I'd be like, oh, I want to go back to.
I don't know. Is it 18 plus? I thought it was 14 for specs.
Yeah, Joe, you better.
Well, I'm sure decent. Probably eating is probably 18 plus. I don't know. I see a lot of good stuff about eating them and just gutting them and throwing them right on the grill whole.
Okay. Well, I mean, it just never seemed to appeal to me. Of course, there's a lot of people that don't eat bluefish, and I love me of a smoked bluefish.
Yeah, I like smoked bluefish. I haven't had smoked bluefish since.
I haven't had smoked bluefish.
My friend Chris used to make it.
Long time because it's
bluefish dip.
Yeah, fish dip. Smoking fish is a very laborious process if you do it right. You got to brine them and soak them and dry them and you real low heat them and basically smoke them. So Firebird caught a few 20 plus at Point Lookout 2 weeks ago. There you go. So those are good sized fish. Charles has oysters with his turkey on Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah, we do that in Jersey.
We used to do a thing where we'd go get a pack of oysters and put them on the grill. We'd scrub the shells down, get all the mud off, and then just throw them on the grill whole, let them steam in the shell.
Yep.
While the turkey's cooking, while the turkey's either frying or whatever you're doing with the turkey, we're going to smoke a turkey this year for Thanksgiving now. But while that's happening, we would steam those oysters in the shell on the grill, just pop them and eat them. Just
oh yeah.
On that side.
Because I will say I actually don't eat straight raw oysters.
No, I like mine steamed.
I like putting them on the grill like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and let the shell pop, and when
let
the
shell open up,
you crack it and you're good to go. You don't want any of that.
Put a little sriracha on there, a little hot sauce.
I'm a straight up like horseradish sauce, like a cocktail
or butter
sauce, or horseradish, and a little bit of lemon, and a shot of Tabasco. And God, you're making me hungry.
I could eat a bucket of fried oysters like popcorn.
No doubt.
Oh man,
fried oysters. Oh, so I'm so looking forward to that. Going up to Jerry's and getting some good fried oysters. So I bought something new this week that I wanted to talk about because it's worked out very well for me. I got this a couple of weeks ago. So you guys, I've been a straight mono guy, or a straight fluorocarbon is what I've been using, because bass fishing, I put 10-pound, 12-pound fluorocarbon on a rod and I spool the whole thing up with it,
I've had a pair of these forever.
And so I've always just been a clip snip, just fingernail cutters on a lanyard, kind of a retractor thing. And then when I started a few weeks ago, kind of targeting the stripers, you guys got in my head. And so I went to the 30-pound braid.
30-pound?
Yeah, 30-pound braid. 30-pound braid, but with a 25-pound fluorocarbon leader. So
20-pound braid, 15-pound leader.
Okay. Well,
there's only one way to do it, Brian.
Well, that seems to be working.
Just kidding.
Doggone well there, Joey. But anyway, I was trying to cut that braid with those fingernail clippers. Like, oh, this ain't cutting it. And I was I'm not carrying scissors, not doing all that stuff. So I started to look around for what was a good tool to cut braid. Boomerang Tool Company SNIP fishing line cutters, and it came with this retractable tether. Got them off of Amazon for like $11. Stainless steel blades, and they easily just slice through braid, mono, fluoro, anything. It's clean and smooth. You can get those leader knots really, really tight. It has a nice little self-locking blade closure that is easy to open and close, and cut line with just one hand. It's actually a whole lot easier than using the snips. So I got that about a week ago, and maybe I'm late to the party, but I wanted to talk about it because, coming from the world of a guy who was just straight mono, straight fluoro, never really messed with braid too much, having to cut braid is a bit of a challenge with those tools that you cut that other stuff with.
Yeah.
And I was looking for something that worked, and these things work. So I wanted to share that. I'll put a link to the show notes if anybody who actually wants to see that or discover that. And I'm sure I'm going to go over to the live stream, and there's some people like, yes, I've been using that stuff for years and years and years.
Yeah, I think I got a pair that just dangles on my life jacket.
Yeah, that's exactly what I do with mine. What I do with mine. Charles giving us a little more information into the national championship going on down there in Gunnersville. He said he was catching limits by 10 a.m. both days of pre-fishing. Oh, that's brutal. And then today, only 2 bites. Some numbers to wrap your head around here. Over 1,200 fish caught by 300 anglers. Wow. That is a lot of people fishing in one tournament too. Well, I guess that's multiple tournaments, all right, Charles? I think that's the way it goes. Yeah, see, I knew I was waiting for this, Charles. Those boomerang snips are great. What do you use for a knot, Joey, from braid to fluoro?
Man, I'm having a whole brain fart.
Well, I'm experimenting while you're so I'm experimenting, and those guys from Tangier, when they were on Adam, and they were talking about, they actually asked that question, and one of them threw out that he used FG. That knot is ridiculously complicated to tie. I don't even think I could fathom that, because I've watched it. So I've tried GT, which is a very smooth knot. I've tried Albright, which is another, seems pretty quick to tie, but I didn't have great success with it. And I've literally just gone back to uni. And I feel like I can tie it quicker. And I don't know. I feel like it's quicker and it's smoother.
Do a good amount of Albright and double unis. Oh man, in a super pinch when I've been like, like you get like a school of fish or something, and you don't want to spend all the time. Like I've had success with a double surgeon.
Okay, I tried a surgeon.
It works in a pinch. I'm not gonna do it if I'm little bugs catching anything big.
Mm-hmm.
I think I went through a run of losing fish one day when I was younger up at the power plant. When it was, one of those days where everything was like 35, 40 inch, and I kept breaking knots, and I want to say it was that because time was so short every drift. But I don't know, Albright and double uni.
Yeah, I
knew a lot of those, I guess, from the like fly fishing leaders. That's what I use.
Yeah, I think it could be like with the Albright and the Surgeon and the GT. I'm just not proficient enough tying that knot so that when I put them together, first it's slow for me, and then second, it always seems like it comes off thick and it doesn't want to slide through the guides. But then I'll go back to a uni because I use a uni knot, an improved uni knot too, for connecting baits. And so I'm very familiar with that line. I can tie it basically with my eyes closed. And so it's quick and easy, and I do it well. And so it makes for a smoother connection. And for me, I think that's bigger.
Yeah.
And I'm looking back. Charles, those uni snip, those boomerang snips. Dr. Pesca, what a great name. Boomerang clippers are great for braid, but usually have to buy 2 a year though, because the blades wear out quick. I've heard that. And I've also heard that they don't stand up to salt water, that they will rust. So at $11 a pop though, that's easy. That's an easy $11. It's almost like quasi disposable. Firebird uni with 5 wraps has never failed me. I think I'm just going to end up sticking with that. Paul says that, Dad says the double uni knot, aka lazy fly fisher's knot. Is that the uni? Is that what that is, Joey?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
There's so many knots. I've tried different things. I will say when I'm jigging a lot, I go braid to jig head.
Yeah.
Unless I know I might get hung up. But I will say my biggest thing I always have to do is, I know at topwater season's here now, is I do get big on tying like a 5 foot, 3 foot leader of a fluoro or just whatever I have.
I do.
But what knot do you tie onto a plug?
So if it's the fluoro, an improved uni.
Have you ever tried some type of loop knot?
Like a Palomar?
No, like you actually. So the biggest thing I learned with getting like walking the dog and doing a lot of stuff with topwater is a loop knot of whatever your choice is.
Oh, okay. So the bait is free, and
you
don't have it like cinched down on the bait.
Yeah, you get a better movement out of the bait.
Yeah.
So that's the only time I don't use a Palomar.
Okay.
And then lately I've been doing a Palomar with a securing knot on braid because I'm afraid it's going to slip on a bigger fish.
Yeah, and it could.
Yeah,
very well could.
But
I
use.
Go ahead.
When I use topwater stuff, I change my whole setup's different.
Yeah. So. Okay, that makes sense because you want that bait to swim free.
Yeah, you want to swim free, and then I learned that. Yeah, going straight to braid, you don't have any flex, you don't have any like give in that, you don't have anything to walk, and then the loop knot, there's so much you can do with just changing a couple things.
And you also, like when you're bass fishing, if you go straight to braid, like Charles can attest to this, if you've got a bait hung up in the weed and you actually give that thing a rip and that bait,
you're gonna straighten the hook.
Well, no, if it shoots out, if it's braid, it comes straight out. There's no play in it. But if you pull that bait and shoot it out of that grass, it'll actually die a little bit with the mono or with the fluoro because you got the stretch in the line. So when it pops out, it's actually a great ambush point for a bass. So you want that little bit of play because braid is just it's straight connection. It's coming out. And it's coming out at 800 miles an hour. But
Yeah.
with fluoro or mono, you might actually get a bit of little play in the line, a little bit of stretch. So Charles says he uses the FG knot. And if he messes up the FG knot a couple of times, he gets tired of trying. How long does it actually? I got a question for you, Charles. How long does it actually take you to tie that FG knot? I just feel like it looks like it's so labor intensive. And he said if the FG knot fails on him a couple of times, he'll fall back to the Albright. So I've looked at it and I've watched it. People trying to tie that FG knot, and they've all got different styles and techniques. Like I lay the rod over here and I hold the feet over here and I get the line stretch over there. It's just like, oh my God. It feels like it's like such a labor intensive process. So, I'm sorry, we got way off track, Joey. I apologize.
Oh, it's our podcast.
We can do whatever we want. October issue of the magazine. I think I've got everything out now. Be on the lookout for it. I think it's distributed throughout St. Mary's County, throughout Calvert County, a few places in Charles County. You're going to find it a lot of Anne Arundel County and then the Eastern Shore. If you go across the bridge and you go south all the way down to Blackwater, you are going to find the magazine. But for you folks on the Eastern Shore that are looking for it, probably your bet is maybe Kent Island for Chesapeake Outdoors, Island Tackle Outfitters, a couple of those places. All the tackle shops over on Kent Island are going to carry it. They are right on my path. And in Easton, Shore Sportsman, and then all the way down to Wolford Store. So if you're on Eastern Shore, that's the places to find it. Hey, Joey, what have you been doing this week?
Nothing.
We haven't even got to this part of the podcast yet.
Hey, now we got another 2 hours.
That's right.
Because I like to talk. Well, besides the COVID scare.
Can I tickle you for a minute? Can I tickle you, Joe?
Yeah.
I want to hear about Fish Finder because I want to hear about
Fish Finder.
I want to hear about new boat, old boat, new boat, and I want to hear about how you've been fishing. There's so much stuff I want to hear from you. As we started last night, because we were trying to get this thing going, and you kept going. You were starting to talk about something. I was like, no, don't tell me, hold it.
All right, so let's just start out. I think so. I'm a week and a half with the Fish Finder. The Sunday before, when I took my dad out and he got that nice redfish, and my neighbor was my first run with the new Garmin, which I do love, and it's doing well. But I feel like my fishing style has changed, and I feel like it's made me worse. I was getting so focused. Well, I hit the bad times too. So I fished Wednesday, Sunday, Monday, and I basically was going to give up halfway through this. I was like, you know what, I'm done. I just feel like I was concentrating way too much on it, trying to, I've been learning how to read it. And I was getting away from how I've been fishing all year when I've been catching a lot of fish.
Well, can I say something? Can I jump in real quick? Because you said trying to figure out how to read it, then that's taking you away. But I think once you figure out how to read it, it becomes kind of like second nature. You're not going to, because I feel like what I'm hearing you're doing is you're staring at the Fish Finder.
Yes.
Okay. So once you understand how
I expect it to catch fish for me.
It's a cheater.
My wife says it's cheating. So basically, Wednesday I played hooky from work. It was decently windy out. I went to the biolab, up the creek. I went everywhere. I covered a lot of miles. I actually need to figure out my mileage on my Garmin. But it was okay. It was mediocre at best. A couple little stripers, couple little perch, nothing, speckled trout, blah, blah, blah. Came home. Could have fished all the way to dark. I got in the water at 1. I was home to cook dinner at 5. Wasn't the best day. And then Sunday, the tide's been super low. We did have the full moon, but I've never seen that low of a tide in the creek all year on Sunday.
Especially after if you had experienced the same thing that I had up here, the water had been up.
Yeah, we're having super high tides.
Yeah, we were having super high tides, and then all of a sudden it was like whoop the other direction.
So the fishing sucked Sunday morning. Like same thing. I was on the water 2 hours. I came back in.
Ugh,
Decided to go grocery shopping instead.
no fish at all Sunday morning.
A couple little ones. Like I haven't been skunked.
Well, I think they knew that you potentially had the COVID.
Potentially, I was
And
exposed.
they're like, no, 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 no. We're not going to play with that ginger.
I was exposed. North of the bridge. Um. So Monday, I was like, all right, I got to get out of my creek. I've been fishing my creek a lot. Decided to. I was either going to fish St. Mary's or I've been wanting to go fish under the bridge and some stuff in St. Mary's for a while. So I went over there.
You're talking about the Solomon's Bridge, wherever.
Solomon's Bridge, yeah. So I launched from the ramp, which was really nice. It's free. Blah blah blah. You can't actually. The kayak launch is not what I thought it was, and not that I'm going to put my kayak through a kayak launch.
No,
I just wheeled it to the beach. It was cool.
Beautiful picture of your boat, by the way, on the beach under the.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
that's the last hurrah. It was really cool using the Garmin and the clear view, and marked a lot of fish when it tapered out of the boat ramp. Getting the deeper water. All the way up to like 140 feet, which is that always is just spooky to me.
mm-hmm.
It's just got eerie feeling, but it was cool with the clear view. Actually, I'm going by the pilings. I'm like, what is down there? And I didn't realize I was marking the pilings on the clear view. Like this, it was the image of it. I was like, this is weird. But I also found some really cool, like almost looks like telephone poles down there. And I marked those.
I bet you it's from where they built the bridge.
Yeah, there's some stuff they left down there, it looks like.
Yeah.
But I went out early on the lower part of the tide when it was windy, and I know I would fish the incoming and the wind would die down. But same thing, I was focusing on that. I think I was missing what I should have been fishing for. Worked my way into a creek, and as soon as I got in a little tiny out of the inlet of the creek, I was like, swearing. I was like, F this. I turned off my Garmin, and like 3 casts later, I caught like an 18-inch striper. I'm like, oh, there we go. Get away from that. And it was a creek was really cool because it was a huge flat, and this really nice little beach that was tucked away. Pulled a couple off of there, worked my way around, started fishing like I would normally here, and saw a lot of bait in the middle of the creek. And so I was fishing the little channel of that. No Garmin was on. And I missed a really good one. I think I texted you. I was like, one of the ones that was really nice.
Yep.
Was a good fight, a lot of drag, and get it really close to the boat, gone.
Yeah. Oh,
so it's like, it was super demoralizing. And I don't know. I almost felt like it was a decent redfish.
Ooh.
Don't know if it was a striper. It didn't feel like a striper.
Huh. Well,
so never know.
Big fish. Sometimes the big rockfish, they fight different than
the
boys. So they give you a different play on the end of the rod.
Yeah. That creek was actually really nice. It has a lot of potential. I had a lot of perch bites, but same thing though. I'm fishing a little bit bigger, the saltwater assassin, different lures from them.
What size are you fishing?
Like 4 or 5 inch.
Okay. Yeah.
Mostly 4, but I think between 3 and 4 is where you're going to start not catching perch.
Yep.
So missed a perch, but there was a lot of perch in there. You could just tell, you could feel them, you could see them. So definitely that was a really long pack. I've covered a lot of miles that day. And then I knew the wind was slowly dying down and tide was moving in, so I worked my way back over to the bridge. Same thing. I kept seeing stuff, marking it, and then I don't know what I'm doing half the time trying to jig. When I'm like, well, the fish I'm moving so much in the tidal water.
Yeah.
It was cool though. Worked my way back out and started fishing the St. Mary's side. I usually fish the 3rd and 2nd piling in where it starts to get shallow on the St. Mary's side.
Okay.
And because it's kind of a flat there, and stuff started moving, and the rip was starting over at the shoal marker, and caught a couple little ones, and I started fishing the structure, the rock shoreline as the tide was moving in.
Okay.
And I was like, it's like 5 o'clock. I'm going to start throwing some topwater baits just to see. You never know, because I've had luck over there before. And I was fishing this rundown pier, and about 15 feet from the boat, I was using like a bomber topwater plug. I had this really nice sized rockfish, the striper, like full on like air jaws out of the water.
Oh, nice.
That's one hit though. All it did was one hit. I was like, oh my God, that was a really nice fish. Like probably mid-20s.
Oh,
I was like, ooh, this hurts. And I covered so much water again after like 10 casts. I'm like, all right, she's not going to eat it anymore. So my little perch rod, I have a 1/4 ounce jig head and a 4-inch little paddle tail saltwater assassin thing.
Uh-huh.
First cast off the same corner of that, it wasn't one of those taps. It was like a full on like rhinoceros hit it.
Hail.
I got this little perch rod, and almost 3 times I got spooled.
Oh,
That
no.
thing ran deep water. I turned my GoPro on. I was like, I gotta have all this. So I actually have it all on my GoPro, and that's the one I posted. It was between 24 and 25 inches on my little tape measure thing. I got a picture with the tape measure because I look like an idiot because I had it all on my GoPro. But that was a blast. That was like 5 minutes, and it was one of those like give and take. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna break the hook because it's a little jig head. I'm gonna lose it again.
Just
And I
pull
almost.
Yeah,
It was awesome because it just went right for the deep water
that's cool.
on this little like 1,000 reel I got. It was screaming. I don't know. It was cool. It was finally like brought my morale back up pretty.
Is that little rod that you bought at Tackle Box when I was with you?
Yeah,
Yeah, you've been fishing that a lot. Yeah,
I love that rod and that reel. It's a good combo. Under $100, and it's a winner for me.
wrong.
So that brought me back up for this last week.
Nice.
And yeah, I actually turned my Garmin off about 5 minutes before that.
Well, I do. I think it's new tech that's sitting on the boat, so you're going to look at it. But I do think that once you figure out how to use it, like I was telling you the other day, and it's kind of related. I went out in the creek and my battery died on me, and I literally felt like I was fishing blind. And I think I texted you. I was like, I don't know how you did this for so long fishing without it, because I need to know water depth. I need to see some structure. I need to mark some fish. I don't want to say it's a crutch, but I mean, it's just information that you use, and water temperature and all of those things. It's just information that I use. So I think over time you'll look at it less and less.
Yeah, I'll figure. I've been watching YouTube videos, all that stuff. Yeah, my dad caught that redfish on almost the same exact rod. He has the same setup on a little 500 Shimano reel. That's in our YouTube chat. But no, it's fun that big rockfish. It looks a little bit. I think the GoPro shrunk. I don't know.
Yeah,
But it was about 24, and it's one of the things I did bring the cooler, and I was like, I'm bringing a fish home, but I feel like that fish deserved to go back in the water. After I'm 99% sure it was the same fish that blew up my plug.
I feel the same way a lot of times. You catch that fish and it's like, oh, I want to take you home, and then you don't. I just
And it's kind of a boring video, but I got like 3 or 5 minutes, whatever, on my GoPro from the middle of the fight to the point where I actually got it in one hand, and I'm behind me. I open the cooler up and I look at it, and then I'm like back and forth like 3 times, and so I just gently put it back in the water. I was like, no, that one deserved to go back.
And sometimes you get a fight on a fish like that, and you feel like it's like mano a mano kind of thing.
Yeah.
And, you got to respect the fish. But
Yeah.
You saw those pictures of those rockfish bites we had the other day.
Well, you sent that while I was out there too. I was like, oh man, like because I think you sent that right after I lost that good one.
Oh, they were so good.
My dad says I don't make eye contact with the fish.
Don't make eye contact. That's it.
So it's that was a good day. I still came in early to cook dinner. I was home by like 6, but I did fish a lot of the pilings just by the boat ramp by the Navy Rec Center, and I had a decent. I don't know. I had a less, 5 or 6 within like 10-minute topwater blowups, fishing that in like 3-4 feet of water.
And then was that the last hurrah for the Slayer?
That was. I pulled the Slayer in, full of water. I had an uncomfortable amount of water in the hull, like in the tank well.
So what was the issue with the Slayer?
So I had issues with the scupper. Well, I had issues with the deck of the boat deforming. It was getting ripples.
Okay.
So that wasn't big, and Native addressed that, and Native's got a good warranty. Had to, I think I had to pry a little bit more because of how busy everyone is, but I will give it to them. I did talk to them, and we finally came to the resolution of a new hole. And just happened to be Dave's down there now, and he's picking my boat up Friday. So they made me one like instantly.
Oh, cool.
So I'm getting a green Titan 12.
So you went from the Slayer to the Titan.
Yeah, there was some things with them, and they're addressing the mold. They have a new mold, blah blah blah. But I feel like you're the first person to get the brand new, for like the first run of something.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm usually not that type of person. I usually wait, mainly because I'm never going to buy the brand new whatever.
Yeah.
Titan's been around forever. I don't know. I felt like, all right, Titan's been around. I'm not gonna, I'm gonna keep this boat for a while. It's not like my bikes where I'm gonna get rid of them.
New
So
bike next week.
I was like, I told him, I was like, I'd like a Titan hull. I'll keep the drive unit. I'll keep the seat. I was actually just like, I could get a Bonafide with a Torpedo. That'd be cool.
You would at the end of the day. I don't think you'd like that.
No, I want to be able to maneuver while I'm fishing. But um, I said I didn't care what color, and they said, well, we'll make you a green, and Dave will pick it up. Dave picks it up Friday. I'll pick it up from him Monday.
Score.
And then I put some more holes in it again.
And you got to start punching holes in it.
So like I said last episode, there is some comfort features that the Slayer Max had that the Titan doesn't. But there's so many people that have had Titans, they've already figured out. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
there's
endless videos, there's endless chats, Facebook groups on Titans.
Yeah.
The Titan's a freaking tank. Like, I'm actually looking really forward to that boat now.
Yeah.
It's like 40, 30. It's like 6 or 7 inches wider.
Holy cow!
And
Can I go like sit bitch on the back of it and fish off?
Actually, you know Andrew at work.
Yeah, he told me.
We were both out like standing up and doing everything in the 13.5. I didn't feel uncomfortable at all. I'm only losing like an inch of that on the 12.
You could take Jess out with you.
Oh yeah, I'll put a beanbag chair in the back.
That'll work.
I think that's my my Joey rant. Love the Garmin. Still like, if I just do this the old school way. Yeah. Because we are moving to the shallow water season, and I love.
Well, once you get used to the information that it feeds you.
Yeah.
I think because we're moving into the shallow water season, but at the same time, you still want to know those edges. You still want undulations. You still want to know where that little hole is that fish is going to sit down in, where it goes from 4 feet to 5 feet. And, like today, I was fishing today, and like I was telling you, I have been, and we'll jump in right to what I've been doing. So I've been doing nothing but fishing the creek. I'm fishing 6 feet, 7 feet of water down to 10 to 12 feet of water down in front of Veers off that little sandbar. And I have just legitimately been slaying the rockfish, dude. Just every day I'll go off for an hour and 15 minutes, and I'll catch 8 fish. Now, they're not all keeper size, obviously, but I have pulled.
That's what my dad told me when I was young. They're not all keepers.
I've pulled some keeper size fish. So, most of them are like a 15, 16, 17 inch fish. And you've seen pictures of them, dude. They're like fat. They're like big ass bellies on them. So they feel like they're giant fish, especially when you're trolling. Now I've really taken to enjoying trolling out of the kayak. So much so that I actually bought a couple of rod mounts to put up on the front of the boat to set up for when I'm doing it. I'll take a 1/4 ounce jig head and a little 4-inch paddle tail and put it on one side, toss it off the side of the boat and stick it in a rod holder. And then I'll take a 1/2 ounce jig head and put it on the other side. So there's slightly different depths. I'm trolling about 3 miles per hour. That was the other thing the fish finder gave me when it died on me that was killing me, is I didn't know how fast I was trolling, because it feels right. But if you've got the wind coming with you or against you, it always seems to be the wind is either blowing straight from the north or straight from the south coming up and down my creek. So it's really tough to kind of gauge that. So that has helped me a tremendous amount. And I am picking up a keeper fish every once in a while. I picked up one the other day when Jerry and I were out, literally 50 feet from the pier. It was just, I was getting ready to pull the lines out of the water to come back in. And that was a nice 19. And that was the one, brought it home. So it was less than an hour from caught that fish, plopped it on the pier, brought it up to the house, filleted that thing up, chunked it up into little bite-sized pieces. And my wife, who is a tremendous cook, put a little panko on it and kind of did the whole oven bake fry thing and made some bang bang sauce. And dude, And I sent you a picture of that. That was so good. I mean, so good. It makes me want to kill more fish, which, I don't keep a lot of fish either. We're kind of the same way. I kind of like to, let the fish go. And it's just the way I am. I don't, that's probably one of the only fish that I actually will keep. And I think it's the only fish I've kept this year besides perch. Perch are another world. That's crab bait. Perch, in my opinion, are crab bait. So I'll keep a lot of perch, and I've kept a lot of perch this year. But the game fish, I think, are a little bit different. I treat the game fish a little different, and so that's one of only 2 or 3 rockfish that we've catch. Now, my wife took my boat out a couple of days before that, and she was like, "You're going out on your bike, right?" And I said, "Yeah." She goes, "I'm going to take your boat out. Is that okay?" I was like, "Of course it's all right." So I walked her through it, took her down there, got her all set up. She took the boat out, and I was telling her how to troll, and she decided she didn't.
You say how dirty it was?
No, because I've actually sprayed it off, and it's still got the grime around the
I didn't mean to cut you off. I just thought it was a good.
I still got the grime around the water line. I haven't done anything about that, but I have hosed it down and got all the sand and rocks out of it and all the old little. No, I haven't done that yet. I've still got a whole bunch of little old soft plastics laying around in different places. Come on, that's just it's fishing time.
I still have gulp from you in the bed of my truck.
Probably, yeah. I probably still have my own
shriveled up
in the bed of my truck. Yeah, I probably do that too. So she took the boat out and she got tired of the trolling. And so she went into a little cove and she started throwing that little paddle tail up around trees. She's like, "I knew that was what you said to do. Throw that paddle trail up around the trees." And she got a hit on a cast. So she threw back again, saw it swirl, threw back the third time and pulled in a 23-inch rockfish, brought her home. We cooked that sucker up for dinner. She has no qualms about keeping fish. She was like, she called me. I was on the bike. And she called me. She's like, "What do I do? What do I do?" I could hear the fish like flailing around. I said, "Put a rope in it and bring it back to the pier to clean it." So it was still here for me to clean when I got home, but that's fine. But man, it's tasty. And then that 19 that we chopped up into those little rockfish bites, I just legit I'll go out in the morning and an hour and 15 minutes or an hour and a half catch 6 or 8 fish, and then I'll go back out that night and just before sunset and do the same thing. I picked a fish up on top water the other day when the troll bite was slow.
Yep.
I've had like a 5-inch chugger. It's balsa. I got it up at Anglers, and it's got this really cool bunker pattern, which I've seen the bunker. It's about the same size as it was a true match the hatch for me, because I was looking at that plug in Anglers. And it looked exactly like the bunker that I have in droves in the creek, just everywhere. And sure enough, I mean, it was like just a few casts later, there it was. And you're right, dude. That top water bite from those stripers is legit fun.
Yeah.
That fish exploded the water, and they seem to. It's like when you're trolling for them and you get that fish, sometimes they'll kind of like run with you, and you don't get that fight. But then on a top water, I feel like they're excited, and they kind of give you a different fight, in my opinion. I think
they want to stick you with a hook.
It's a part of it. They want to stick you with a hook or stick you with a fin, one of the two. I don't know.
Yeah, I took a fin the other day. Luckily, nothing happened.
I've taken more. My hands are so beat up right now. And I wish we were in the same place, because I would like you to smell my hands. I legitimately cannot get the smell out of my hands. I was going to ask you last week.
You tried soap?
What? What is that thing you talk about? Jerry told me to try lemon juice, so I haven't still tried.
Oh, you'll find all your cuts with that.
Well, it got me the other day where one of them stuck me in the thumb, and I went to put some hand sanitizer on there. I legit almost came out of the truck, like through the window, because it was open. That's about it for me, though. We've gone on for way too long. We got anything for this or that's this week? Oh, I've got one. Oh. One here. So let's do this. Would you, Joey, rather live somewhere the seasons only change slightly, like a Florida? So the fishing kind of is always on, with kind of always the same. I know people that have fished Florida or know Florida are going to come all after me for that, but you kind of get the idea of what I'm talking about here, right?
Not Maryland.
Yeah. Or would you rather live somewhere where there's a drastic seasonal change, and the fishing changes along with it.
This might be the first year I'm excited for all the seasons.
Hmm.
No one ever likes going into winter.
Right.
I don't know. I just not really sure the reasoning behind it. But
For me, I like the idea of the seasons change, but the one thing I don't like is the difference in the available amount of daylight.
maybe maybe I don't know. I don't mind the cold and the and the less daylight coming.
Mm.
I don't know if that's a sign of like depression.
No, I can deal with the cold, the temperature changes, and I like the seasonal changes of the fishing. I mean, because like this September and October in the creek with these rockfish has been like a legit dream about this kind of fishing right now that I'm
Yeah.
so
I don't know. I think overall, I mean, you got to change it up or just
gets old. I think you get tired of it.
yeah.
But
And if you, I don't want to.
I don't
Yeah.
want to bash somebody. Not really bashing somebody, but if you fish in Florida, you're fishing Florida strain bass, and you're fishing Florida strain bass, and you're fishing, that it's kind of like, although maybe I'm missing something because I haven't done it, I haven't lived there. Maybe there is some subtle.
I'm not fishing for bass in Florida.
Well, a lot of people do. I mean, Florida
Yeah,
bass,
Okeechobee.
Florida strain bass, man, that's the legit thing. So, I don't know. I think we're both kind of on the same page with the little seasonal change is not a bad thing. I like it.
Yeah, it just keeps things fresh.
Yeah.
I will say, well, I should be. It's like 99. Well, just have to confirm, but I should be fishing for redfish in the marsh next weekend down in
Cool.
between Swansboro and Wilmington.
Cool.
We got a guide. My friend Dan has been fishing out of a flats boat, getting pulled around. So I'm excited for that. The one thing I have neglected was my fly rod this last month.
Yeah, I haven't seen you. I don't think I've seen you touch that. Sure you have.
And before it was like maybe I'll take a spinning rod, and I have like 2 or 3 fly rods. But even like so, the fish that I was catching Monday were all fly rod fish.
Oh, cool.
It was all shallow. Well, no, they weren't on the fly rod. I'm kind of upset because I was like, I cleaned up everything. I actually have a last piece from one of my nice reels coming Friday. But the fish I was catching, especially the big one, I didn't need sinking line, and it was like, man, that would have been an awesome fish on my 8 weight.
Yeah, I hear you. You're saying potential was there for those fish to be fly fish.
Yeah, and I had my reel. The other thing I'm excited about the Titan is the storage access. I can actually store rods in the hull of my boat.
Yeah, you talked about that. I've heard you talk about it here, but
and I left my fly rod tubes in my truck, and I'm halfway across the river. I'm like, oh, I'm not going back. So, anyway,
you got anything else you got anything going on the Facebook group? Shout out.
No, I need to update a little bit more. I'm trying to figure out. Probably be the weekend after I get back from Wilmington.
Okay.
Maybe we'll do. I don't know. Maybe we'll figure out what the fishing's doing.
We've been talking about doing a meetup for a while.
Yeah.
I think we need to do that in the next couple of weeks, or our window is going to shut.
Yeah. So, we did get Scott on YouTube said, "Hey guys, any recommendations on apps to improve times to take the kayak out? Something that reports tides, weather, hour by hour, day to day." I've actually been using Windy, WINDY. There's parts of that app that will give you. I love that. Brian, you use that app, right?
Yeah, I use Windy, and I use Tides Near Me.
Yeah, I check multiple tide places because I feel like some of them are a little off.
Yeah.
Or the actual tide's off. But the really cool thing about Windy, and I check 20 times before no matter when I'm going out on my kayak. Windy will actually show you wind speed, wind direction. You can have an overlay of the creek where you're at, the water. It'll give you, it'll have tides at the bottom. It'll have wind gusts. Like it is so in depth. It takes a little bit to get used to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's hard to read. So, like for me, I need to put my reading glasses on to read that because there's so much information on that.
Yeah, it's an awesome resource because there's about 3 different things I check, and I check that one the most.
Yep. Yep.
And I like it because it works on my bike rides too.
Well, yeah, because I
I
mean,
can pick which routes or ride a little differently.
in there's another one that I used to use for the bike called Windsock,
Yeah.
and it actually had a thing where it would monitor your segments
Uh-huh.
and send you notifications when it was particularly a good time to go run a segment.
Jeez,
It would be
dorks.
back. I know that's like taking data nth degree, but yeah, I'm
The
right there with you.
the other one I used before I got a Garmin was it's the iBoating Nautical app.
Never heard of
I
that one.
used it because it's like full on. I don't know if you can see. It's full on
Oh,
topographical.
that's the one you would use for the charts.
That's the one I would guesstimate where I'm at. Use my Yak Attack pull. It was a little weird, but it will give me tide charts. It will give me a good overlay of the body of water I'm fishing.
It's your poor man's fish finder. Yeah.
It worked. I caught
You
more
know,
fish with it.
yeah.
Just
A
kidding.
lot of people are jumping in. Sean uses Fish Angler. I'm not familiar with that one. He confirmed, Sean chimed into the Windy and Dr. Pesca. I use Fish Weather. Never heard of that one either. I need to check that one out. So, anybody else got something that they use that we haven't talked about? Shout it out. Fish Weather and Fish Angler. I use Fish Brain too. I actually subscribe to Fish Brain. Don't know why. I just I never use it, and I never really post to it. But I liked the idea at one point of a social network that was kind of like a Strava thing for fishing. So I kind of tried it for a while, and I still have the subscription active to it, but I don't really use it. But they do a good. They throw tides in there as well. So, but tides near me is one that I use because I've got a couple of things favorited, and it pops right in and shows me exactly the information I need. There's no extra stuff. So wind and tide, fish and tidal water. Hope that helps, Scott. Hope that answered some questions. And yeah, Windy does hour by hour for the wind. He was specifically asking for hour by hour.
Go
ahead.
Well, I said the thing I like about Windy is just switching it over to wind gusts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It might be blowing 5 miles an hour, but you get 15, 20-mile-an-hour gusts.
It's a different game.
Oh yeah, that's a game changer. That's a whole different finding it a whole different place to fish. Or
like for me today, it was 10 to 12 mile an hour wind coming out of the north. So it was blowing right down my creek.
Mhm.
Or excuse me, coming from the other way. It was coming from the south. So when I would troll my baits headed south, I was having a hard time gauging speed, wasn't picking up fish, but I would turn that boat and come right back up over that hump right off that little bar. And almost every back troll, I'd pick up a fish. So knowing your winds, really, really, really matters.
Yep.
Blending those things with tides. If you're fishing tidal water, wind and tides, nothing else really matters. And that'll move the bait fish too. The wind will move the water, that water will move the bait fish, and all of those things make a difference. So understanding how all those things work. And then eventually, if you're fishing a lot of the same water, you're going to begin to see those patterns. And you're going to know, if I got a wind coming from the north and I'm fishing this piece of water, then this is how it's going to impact the bait. And that's why people that have been fishing forever have a kind of a sixth sense with regards to that stuff. But we can use the apps to our advantage.
Because we're all freaks.
Yeah, we're all data nuts. Data nuts.
Well, you just smell like fish.
Hey, there's worse things to smell like. Maybe.
I don't
know. All right. You got anything else, Joey, before you shut it down?
Yeah, we've been keeping people up past their bedtimes.
I am up way past my bedtime. Thank you, everybody in the live stream, for listening and for watching. Of course, you can catch this in your car on a podcast audio as well. You can find that just about everywhere you download your podcast. So if you came in for a piece of the YouTube live stream and you want to hear the rest, hey, just go search your podcast player for Maryland Fishing Line and we'll show up. If you're looking for us online, you can go to facebook.com/Angler Magazine Chesapeake. You can catch the magazine on Instagram at Chesapeake Angler, and you can find me at BN Range. Joey, how can they get a hold of you?
Well, people find me pretty quickly on my Instagram at Joey Sikorsky 24. And then my paddle shop Instagram is at Pack Paddles.
Got any boats to talk about coming in?
I have a line of people for the Slayer 10. One of the bona fides is gone or spoken for. Got one more bona fide RS 17, no 107.
You
I
got
think
both.
that's. I got a couple boats. I have a Slayer Max that is unspoken for, but that might actually be spoken for.
They
A
don't
guy.
last. They don't last long.
No, yeah, I think this. He's not a kid. He's my age. No, he's a year younger than me. I just is looking at the Slayer Max, Jeffrey. So we'll see.
If you're looking for boats, get a hold of Joey over at Pack Paddles. If you're looking for us on YouTube, youtube.com/Chesapeake Angler, I have got a backlog, Joey. I haven't released a lot of fishing videos in the
I
last
know.
probably since July, I think August, September, but I have been recording just about every trip. I have got a backlog of stuff. So when it gets cold out and nobody's fishing, all of a sudden those videos are going to pop up with all of this goodness that you can plan for next year. That's
Yeah,
my thought, Joey. That's my idea. That's what I'm thinking. What do you think? Do you think that works?
that works.
Okay. You can read the e-magazine online at ChesapeakeAnglerMag.com. Look for that October issue. And believe it or not, I'm already starting to think about what's going to be in November. Thanks, everybody, for listening. And until next time, y'all, we love you. Bye.
Love you, bye.
Shut that down. Live stream still running. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out down here with us. Pesca Pesca is Phil Green. Okay.
Oh
Cool.
yeah, he's he messaged me about the Slayer.
Yeah.
Yep.
He said he had a failed attempt at a YouTube channel. He learned to hate recording. And he got an Old Town autopilot. Hey, Scott, I need to hear about that. That sounds like a really cool boat. I've seen a lot of videos on that. I have the Old Town Topwater 120 PDL version. Thanks everybody again for watching us on live stream, and we are going to shut this down.
Love you, bye.
Love you. Bye.
Did we already say that? Did we already shut this down once?
I don't know. It's so confusing.
I don't know what.